So, very good evening, friends. Meeting again in the session of Materia Medica. I'm very sorry that yesterday it was not possible to conduct. Some technical issue was there with the computer, and that's why not able to connect you yesterday. And that's why the same remedy which I have discussed with all of you is Aurum Metallicum that we're going to discuss in today's session. Actually, this remedy I have taken in detail the Aurum group, and where I have explained the whole Aurum group. It is there uploaded on YouTube, and even I have shared the case of Aurum group, the both sides of Aurum. That's what I have discussed over there. But still, from the syllabus point of view and from the clinical point of view, we're going to learn Aurum Metallicum again in today's session. Instead of starting with Allen's keynotes, I will share two cases in my practice. It may take two or three lectures to learn the Aurum Met from Allen's keynotes because it is a big remedy. In fact, it is a very deep acting polycrush and king of antisyphilitic. So this is syphilitic remedy which one has to understand. First case I will going to share was interesting. A 50 years businessman who came to me. It was way back in 1997, 98. This fellow was there with me, who came with the complaints of heart. There was a palpitation. Then he was investigated. Then he was diagnosed as the case of fatty degeneration of the heart. He was hypertensive. He was continuously on medication since 5 years before coming to me. Associated with severe headache, there is always a congestion to the head, and that is because of lot of overthinking over there. There is visible temporal arteries. You can able to watch over there, carotids and temporal artery. When I asked history, what has happened, tell me your life, and he explained about his nature as well as life. There was a history that this fellow was very particular, meticulous type of person. He was fastidious, but fastidiousness was of a meticulous nature. That means if he wants a certain thing in order, it should be done in that order. If he wants to go for a meeting at specific time, then he should be there at that specific time and meeting should start at the same time. He should very particular, and he brought whole file along with him. All the reports are very particularly date wise arranged. That was his nature, and he expected each and everything from others. Being having a big business, there were a lot of people who were working with him, and he expects every time the same thing from them. He himself was a very alert person, active person, not alert but active person, and used to do a work day and night, very hard worker. There was a continuous anxiety about the future in his mind. What will happen if I will not work like this, and if peoples are not working according to me, what will happen? One more thing which was there on his face, that his forehead there was a big tear, a religious mark on his forehead. That was very characteristic about him. And history happened that 5 years back, he was expecting all those things from his staff. One of the staff behaved in a misbehaved manner. He showed a reaction to him, and that disturbed him. He was expecting the same things from him, and that fellow reacted back in front of all other staff which were there. And this fellow felt so disturbed because of it. He becomes so angry, but he never showed that anger. It was remained inside. And within a day or two, he started getting palpitation. That was the actual history of the case. And from where this has started, then he went to the cardiologist. He examined, he has done echo and all those things. Then he was diagnosed as a case of hypertension as well as fatty degeneration, etc. And started with all allopathic medicines. And under the allopathic medicines, the BP was in a generally in the under control, or sometimes the diastolic was used to remain between 90 to 100. And he was always worried about what will happen about future. And that thing which has happened 5 years back was still there in his mind, that how this fellow has reacted to me. I'm doing everything good for them. I'm doing everything in a particular manner, and still people behaves like this, and he could not tolerate that. That was the problem actually. So that was a big mortification. That was the cause of his problem. He used to get angered whenever there is such type of any contradiction, but he used to try to suppress that anger, keeping it inside. And whenever he used to suppress, he used to suffer from the palpitation. So that was the whole history. When I examined his pulse, found to be a full bounded but irregular pulse, little bit irregular. And he expected that, doctor, what will happen with the homeopathy? Is there any remedy for this in homeopathy? So I repertorized the case. And as the case was denoting through and through the Aurum Metallicum, I have started him directly on Aurum Metallicum LM1. I have continued Aurum Met LM1 for nearly about 1 month. I have changed the remedy every month. I've started with the LM1, next month LM2, LM3. Gradually, I have raised up to the LM10. And this fellow was disturbed because of that thing which had happened 5 years back, gradually came out of that disturbed state, depression. He started, his anger has decreased a lot. And later on, we reduced his half of the tablet. Then after 3 months, another half of the tablets. And within span of 6 months, he was free from all allopathic tablets. And his blood pressure was found to be 130 by 80 to 84. It has settled at that level even without antihypertensive. Thereafter, he has started doing all his activities, and basically his meticulousness which was there, which was persistent, but the way he was expecting from the others, that has gradually come down. He becomes calm after starting the Aurum Metallicum. Aurum, in long-term sense, if you are using for such pathologies, my suggestion to all of you is always start with the LM. LM in a repeated doses is a wonderful remedy, and which has the capacity to cover all those things. The pathologies are much more in Aurum Metallicum. It is a remedy which touches the human mind in a negative way. The person is very active to start with, but if someone disturbs, patient goes into the opposite side. And then the depression comes. Then the thoughts of suicide comes. In Aurum, this is very important. Whatever the negative side is there, that is not the prominent side. In fact, first, the Aurum is more positive. Whatever picture we get in Materia Medica is the failed side of Aurum. Only Dr. Rajan Sankaran, he has very nicely elaborated the Aurum Metallicum in his book, The Soul of Remedy. And in fact, that is the way with which we get the patients of Aurum in our practice. Failed site very occasionally we get, because till that period, if the patient goes into depression and wants to suicide, he never waits. He goes for suicide. That is very typical with the Aurum. So this is wonderful remedy, such types of pathological cases, even in bony problems, necrosis, osteomyelitis. This is a very important remedy. Even in avascular necrosis, this remedy plays a very vital role. Second case was interesting. It was first time I never expected the cure in that patient. In fact, it was a trial basically. It was a case of 4 years child who was brought to me, little bit shy, little bit looking to be a feminine side, and parents were worried, and they brought with the reports that he had undescended testes and not fully developed testes, and they were a lot of worried. Surgery was asked to do for them by surgeon, but they said that even after surgery, we cannot give the guarantee that whether the testes will going to develop or not fully. And that's why they came to me and asked whether there is any scope in homeopathy. I said there are medicines in homeopathy, and there is a medicine for the individual and not for the disease. We'll start with our remedies and let us see for what happens within span of 1 year, 2 years. You have to continue the medicine. They were ready to go for it because invasive treatment they never expected, and they started with a treatment. And I was knowing that typical feature of the Aurum Metallicum, that these are the children where there is a undescended testes or they are testes which are not fully developed. It has been very specifically mentioned, and this is the congenital problem of syphilitic miasm. So few features which I have confirmed that this is Aurum, and because that little bit boyish go, that was very typical with this child. I started him on Aurum Met 30. I have given a few doses of Aurum Met 30 for 2 days, followed by placebo, and I was continuing with him medicine. Ask them that don't go for immediate investigations. We'll do it after the 6 months. And he was continued with the medicines Aurum Met 30 gradually. I have raised to 200, then up till the period of 6 months, I have raised it up to the 1 m. And this fellow gradually got the development of the testes. Second important thing, the testes which were there up, that gradually started coming down. I have done the in USG. Then I asked to continue, and they were also happy because the testes was developing. That was very important. One testis was in a proper position, left one was not descended properly. And within span of nearly about 1.5 years, the testes were normal, came normal to the normal level, and then he has we have continued him treatment for at least 2 years. The sonography was very normal, and that fellow was settled. It was, in fact, I myself was not expecting such cure in such types of patients because it looks to be a purely surgical case. But I have tried my level best. Whenever such types of cases are there, I used to try a lot because it is given in our Materia Medica, but we never tries for it. My suggestion is always go for it. So this is wonderful remedy. There are many more cases of Aurum Met we can discuss. Today these two cases are there. If tomorrow we'll continue with the Aurum, I will share few more cases of Aurum. Aurum Metallicum. Open your book, Allen's Keynotes. Aurum Metallicum, gold, the element. Sanguine. Sanguine means bloody. Sanguine means red faced, congestive. Sanguine, ruddy people. Ruddy, there are two meanings of it. Red and healthy, that is the first important thing. And they used to rule others, that is another feature. But this is related with the congestive face, with black hair and eyes. Lively. See, the first sentence of Allen's gives you the perspective of Aurum, how is Aurum, how it looks. And one word which is very important is lively. They are not depressed at the start. Keep it in your mind. Aurum are not depressed at the start. Aurum's fail state led them towards the depressed side or sadness. It is not. First, they are very lively peoples. They are restless. They cannot sit without idle. They want to work. Otherwise, they become restless. These are the peoples, even on holidays, they works. That is the, this is very typical feature of Aurum Metallicum. They are lively, they are restless, they are anxious about the future. They are continuous hard workers, and they always worries about future, what will happen and how to go ahead. And that was the thing which is always there. And they are very goal oriented. Unless and until the work is finished, they never stops. This is their industriousness. This is their nature. There is a difference between Kali Carbonicum and Aurum Met. Aurum is industrious. Kali Carb is uh, what you can say, responsible. It has been said that both are strong, responsible persons. But Kali Carb is duty bound. Aurum is industrious, hard worker. Kali Carb, yes, he will, if you will give him a duty for 8 to 5, he will come sharp at 8 o'clock. He will finish his work 5 o'clock, and then thereafter he will not work for you. That is because Kalikab is purely psychotic. Kalikab, even though responsible, very duty bound, everything, but Kalikab is not like Aurum. Aurum will come at 8 o'clock sharp and he will start working, and unless and until the whole work is finished, he will not stop. That is the big difference between the Aurum and Kalikab. Both of them are responsible, but their nature is rather different. One is industrious, another is duty bound. Old people, see, these are the people, old people with weak vision. Vision is literally disturbed. Corpulent. Corpulent means their body is quite good, healthy, strong. So old people whose body is quite good, in a good condition, healthy, with weak vision, and tired of life, given in italics, tired of life. They are exhausted at the end because whole life they have worked very hard, both physically as well as mentally. These are the people who are, they never wait for someone. They starts doing their work their own way. If they are a farmer, he will work day and night very hard. If he's a job oriented person, he will work for that job day and night. These are the persons on whom there are many responsibilities are given, and they goes on taking the responsibilities, but at the end they are tired of life. They gets exhausted because of that overwork, and that is then there is a entrance of Aurum Met into the failed side starts. It is not earlier. They are lively to start with, but they enters into this opposite side later. For constitutions broken down by bad effects of mercury and syphilis. This word one has to understand. King of antisyphilitic, we says, syphilis miasm, one has to understand. Syphilis miasm is nothing but it starts with the word syphilis disease. Syphilis is the disease which is chronic in nature and ends with the life of the human being. Syphilis is the disease which Sir, there was some problem in the connection. Connection error was there. So, what I was discussing, these are the people. There is the sentence which we are discussing for constitutions broken down by bad effects of mercury and syphilis. Syphilitic miasm, we have to understand. Syphilis disease is a very important disease which runs through the 4 phases, which ends with the life of the human being. Primary syphilis is caused by the Treponema pallidum. It is sexually transmitted disease which appears on male or female genitalia as a single painless hard ulcer with By horizontal group of bilateral inguinal lymphadenopathy. So that is what is the presentation. It is on superficial part. What was the treatment earlier for it? For this ulcer, there were mercurial preparations they used to use to remove that ulcer or to treat that ulcer. And when it disappears because of mercurial preparations, it enters inside and affecting the inner human being. And that is what is called as bad effects of mercury. Heparsal, this is also present in heparsal. Even in mercurious remedy, the Merksol remedy, the same sentence is used. This means that is the local use of the mercurial preparations in order to treat the primary chancre is the bad effects of mercury. And this disease itself is a disease which runs through 4 phases. When primary is suppressed, it runs inside destructing human being. When it comes out with secondary, along with condylometallata, a psychotic expression, along with the maculopapular rash, a psoric expression. So simple syphilitic miasm becomes complicated, complex, pseudosyphilitic psychotic. Then if you treat all the features locally, again it enters into the asymptomatic state where the destruction was going on, but it is asymptomatic, called as latent syphilis or tertiary syphilis. And when it reappears by killing the person, either by cardiomyopathy, if it involves the heart, either by tabes dorsalis, causing the nervous system affection paralysis, or any other big organ, ultimately ending with the human organism. And that is what is called as a syphilis. And Hahnemann chose same name because this disease itself is responsible to destruct the human life. And that's why Hahnemann he utilized this terminology for this miasm. So for the constitutions broken down by bad effects of mercury or syphilis, this is syphilis disease which is their past history of syphilis along with the suppression by the mercurius. We'll learn one more paragraph only. Pinning boys. Pinning means who have lost their flesh, crucial, losing flesh. They are becoming very weak, low spirited, lifeless, weak memories, lacking in boyish go. Test is undeveloped. See, every word is important. Test is undeveloped. Mere pedant straits means swelling of the testes with aching pain, touching and rubbing with induration of the testes. That is what is the meaning of this last terminology. Mere pedant
No
thread.
bicep.
Yes, mere pedant threads. That the meaning of this word is, just write it down if you want to write it down. It is swelling of the testes with aching pain on touching, with aching pain on touching and rubbing, along with induration of the testes, along with induration of the testes. That is what is the word meaning of the word mere pedant threads. And this is the paragraph one must consider. We get such types of cases in practice. I have treated 3 in my practice. And this is very important. The pinning boys, they are absolutely weak, they are low spirited, doesn't have strength to go ahead, that doesn't have enthusiasm. This is the absolutely failed side. The syphilitic miasm was dominating in them to start with, lifeless, that they don't show any enthusiasm, lifeless, weak memories are lost, nothing remembers, lacking in boyish go. They don't have that boyishness over there, lacking in boyish go. Testes undeveloped testes. This was the case in which I have explained. And last word, that is mere pendant shreds. So this is very good remedy for children specifically of testicular affection and where they lack the boyish go. They are absolutely weak children. This is congenital syphilis which is expressing in them in such a manner. So that is one aspect of the remedy one should not forget. I think we'll stop over here. We'll tomorrow and one more, three lectures will require to learn the Aurum, because it is a big remedy and many aspects we have to learn. It is not a remedy which will going to just read and understand. It is not. It is very deep-acting remedy. We have to understand many aspects of the remedy. So we'll stop over here and we'll meet again tomorrow with the same remedy. Again, I will share few more cases of Aurum Metallicum with you. There are many more with me. So that's all for today. If any query is there, is definitely we'll have a discussion. Otherwise, we'll conclude. So that's all for today. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time with the same remedy. And there are many more facets which we have to learn in this remedy. Thanks and good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, good night.